the thing with outcome dependent mindsets that I really want to talk about is first, like, how do you even identify an outcome dependent mindset, right? And I was kind of thinking about that. How do you identify one? And I kind of recognize you can identify them because they're everywhere. Like it's not a matter of identifying if you have one. It's a matter of identifying, of recognizing it, right? It's not a matter of if I have it. It's okay, you have it. Can you see it though, right? And so that's kind of the first thing I thought about in the YouTube video was like everyone has an outcome dependent mindset. Even me to this day, who knows about these things and actively kind of goes around it, still struggles with that mindset. So I was recognizing, okay, so if everyone has an outcome dependent mindset, what actually is an outcome dependent mindset? And I kind of worked on this definition. You guys can let me know if you like this definition, but my definition of an outcome dependent mindset was that you need outcomes slash results to justify your identity, which I know sounds a little wordy and a little complicated, right? So I'll kind of break it down. But that was the best definition I could come up with. But basically, the idea is that we all put in the work, right? When it comes to trading or jobs or whatever it is, right? We put in work, we put in studying, we put in hours of our time in our life. And as a result, we expect outcomes to justify that hard work, right? And naturally, by doing so, you'll start personally identifying with your results, right? So, what does that mean? It means you put in a lot of work on something. It means you honestly try your hardest. You put in the hours, you put in the sweat, blood, and tears, and you expect a result, right? And because you are aligning yourself as a person, as an identity, as a human with your work, you're also aligning that identity with the outcome, which means that if the outcome isn't there, so if you put in the work, you put in the hours, you put in the sweat, and it's not there, you don't see your outcome, right? You don't see the results at the time that you want it. Now it's not just an attack on your hard work, it's an attack on your identity because you personally invested that energy into your whatever it is, right? We're going to talk about trading, but into trading, right? And so what that leads to is as you naturally start feeling that attack, right, when the results aren't there, then naturally you'll start looking for ways to fix that, right? Because no one likes being attacked. No one likes feeling like the work is for nothing. No one likes feeling like they're putting this work for nothing, right? So naturally, as human beings, we are basically like programmed to minimize, pain, right? We don't like feeling pain. We don't like feeling that emotional hurt. So naturally, we'll start seeking out how to fix this, right? And how to get over this pain, right? And when it's such an attack like this, right? When it's an attack on the person, on your identity, this is a very deep wound. This isn't something that you're just like, oh, well, whatever, it'll go away. This is something that you have to fix right now as quick as you can and do whatever it takes, right? And so when the results are the first priority on your list, everything else comes second. What does that include? That includes following your rules. That includes building discipline, building patience, building the things that we know are actually beneficial to our trading. But we'll place that second because we already put the results first. So if the results aren't there, then everything else has to go, right? That's how I think of it. Think of it like a plane that has a weight limit. If you're trying to carry this big burden of results and needing results right here, right now, then you have to throw away everything else. There's no room for results and discipline, right? So you'll throw away your discipline. You'll throw away your patience, your intuition, your conviction, your rules, right? You'll throw away everything to try to get to that result, right? I mean, just think about it logically speaking, right? If you're chasing a green day and all you're chasing is green, 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 money, 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 and the rules that you're following aren't getting you that result, what are you going to throw away first? You're probably going to throw away your rules before you throw away that chase, right? And that's the unlock that I wanted to talk about today. Is a lot of us by chasing results, 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 outcomes, 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 right? That's why I call it outcome dependent mindset. Then you're going to have to throw away everything else if that thing does not get you the result that you want. So if by following your rules, by maintaining discipline, by maintaining patience, by maintaining all the good things that we know is going to get the result, but if you do that and you don't see the result at a certain time or whatever it is, maybe a month, maybe a week, whatever it is, then you're going to start thinking, not the problem is, oh, I'm chasing results that are not sustainable. Your problem is going to be, oh, okay, well, whatever I'm doing isn't working to get what I want. What do I do to fix this? Okay, well, if this isn't working, then I need to try something else, right? So instead of moving yourself, you'll move the rules. Do you guys understand? And that is a huge issue with outcome dependent mindsets is you will pretty much throw away everything to get what you want. And that's not a good thing. I know that this is an unpopular opinion, but that obsession with needing results, that obsession with wanting to be so great is actually hurting you. Why? Because if you're willing to throw away everything to get what you want, how are you going to get to that area in the first place? If you're willing to throw away your rules, your discipline, your patience, your focus, and that's what you actually need to succeed, and you throw that all away, how are you going to succeed? You're not going to. It's not going to work out. And that's why I think breaking out of this mindset is so important, and why I'm going to spend the next who knows how long talking about it. Make sense? Alrighty, guys. I'll kind of answer a few questions, and then we can kind of get back to the main topic of today. Ty, I use MyFunded and Lucid, and then I have no idea what that prop firm is, to be honest. And then Gavin, yeah, that's fine, bro. You can make that back, honestly. That's fine. Alrighty. Back to the main topic at hand, right? Outcome-dependent mindsets. How to identify them, accept them, and overcome them, right? So I'll give you a story, right, to kind of talk you guys through this. So I had someone come to me in the stream earlier today, actually. This was earlier in the morning, if you were here for the morning stream. And they told me that they had already gotten payouts and that they had already seen some form of success, right? A little bit of money, right? A couple $1,000s, right? And it's not a little bit, that's quite a bit, but they've already seen some results, but they still struggled with following their rules and they didn't know why. They knew that they should only take one trade a day. They knew that they shouldn't trade more than this many contracts. They knew that they should only trade following their setup, but they still told me that they struggled with following those rules, even though those rules had already given them the results that they wanted to an extent, right? They've already gotten a few payouts. So they told me, they said, why is it that even though I've had the outcomes, I still can't accept my rules, right? I still can't accept following the right path. And I told them, it says, because you never let go of the outcomes. Even though you had it, this is why outcome-dependent mindset is so dangerous. You could even get the results that you want, and it still won't be enough. Why? Because as humans, if you guys know just like basic biology, the dopamine is a drug that needs more and more. All drugs are drugs that you need more and more of to feel the same high, right? If you take, X amount of a drug, you need more and more to justify that same level of happiness that you receive from it. And it's the same thing with outcome-dependent mindset. So this guy had already taken out 10, I think he told me 15 payouts, almost 15 payouts already. That is a lot. That is a lot of money. Even at a minimum payout, that's thousands of dollars. But because he was so focused on outcomes, he had to continuously increase his payouts in order to feel that same level of happiness because he had already attached his happiness to the outcome. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? So he was only happy when he saw certain results. And when those results were here, eventually it became numb to the point that he needed bigger results to feel that same level of happiness, right? So now it's not, I need a 1K payout. It's I need 10K, 20K, 30K, 40K, right? And as time goes on, that becomes unsustainable for him, right? So naturally, what does he start doing if what he's doing isn't possible anymore? He's going to start figuring out how to make the impossible possible. He's going to start saying, okay, well, what can I do to get to where I need to go? And again, because he never got rid of the idea that outcomes and results are number one in his mind, and they were always number one. The outcomes were always number one in his brain. Because he never got out of that, when push came to shove, what did he drop first? Was he going to drop his number one or his number two? He dropped his number two, which ended up being his rules, which ended up being his discipline, which ended up being his patience, right? Do you guys understand? So even though this guy has seen more money than most of us, right? This guy has already gotten payouts. This guy has already seen all the success. Because he never fixed the corrupted mind in the first place, he still struggled with the idea of following his rules. Why? Not because he knew it was going to work. He knew that following his rules worked, right? But because he never got rid of the idea that results are number one and everything else is secondary, when it caught up to him, and eventually he had to let go of something, and he was either going to let go of the mindset, which he didn't even know he was struggling with in the first place, or is he going to let go of his rules? He let go of his rules, and he blew all his accounts, and he set himself pretty much back to break even and blew all the money. Even though he had already seen the success, he had already seen things that most of you guys wish you had, right? You guys wish you would make 10K in a month. This guy already did it and still couldn't break out of that cycle. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? So it's not just, a lot of you guys, I see this a lot. You'll be like, okay, once I make a certain amount of money, then I'll follow all my rules because the money's already going to be there. But you can say that, it's not going to actually happen. Once you get that money, it's going to be, okay, on to the next, on to the next, on to the next. Because that is how we as humans are just wired. You can't beat that, right? It's like waking up and saying, today I'm not going to breathe oxygen, right? Today I'm going to just willpower, and I don't think I need oxygen. I think I can just hold my breath all day, right? It's ridiculous. It's the same thing you guys are saying, though. It's saying, oh, I'm going to make results happen and force it to happen without thinking about the inputs, and it'll magically work out. It makes no sense. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? That is the key unlock of today, is when you focus only on your inputs, then naturally the outputs will be there, right? If you focus only on what you put in rather than what you get out of the market, then naturally you're going to start receiving more of the market, right? If you're only focusing on what you put in, right? What do you put in the market? You put in your time, you put in your energy, your discipline, your patience, your focus, your rules. If you focus exclusively on the inputs, then how are the outputs not going to be there? How is results not going to speak for themselves eventually? Does that make sense? Do you guys know anybody that was locked in, focused, disciplined, and wasn't worried about results right then and there? He was only focused on, the inputs, only focused on what he can control. I don't know anybody that was like that and didn't see some form of success in life. It just doesn't make sense, right? It's like if you work out at the gym every single day, doing all the right things, then results and muscles and stuff have to be there. It just doesn't make sense logically speaking why it wouldn't be there. But a lot of us will be chasing the results first and throw away everything that actually gets you to that point. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? It's like saying, oh, I really want to work out and see muscles. Okay, I'm going to work out 10 hours a day and never sleep because all I care about is seeing muscles. And hard work equals muscles, right? So I'm not going to sleep. I'm not going to rest. I'm just going to focus only on training. Then you're going to burn out. You're going to be so sore and so fatigued. You're not going to be able to work out anymore. You're going to quit, or you're going to take a break, or something's going to happen, and you're going to end up making less progress than the guy who took it easy and said, yes, I wanted to make this progress, but let me focus on doing the right things to see the right results, and then naturally I believe the results will speak for themselves. Do you guys understand what I'm saying? Sheesh, that's a bar. That's good. That was a good one. Because think about it. That's literally, it's a very, very real one-to-one example. A lot of you guys are chasing trading results so hard. You're chasing that payout. You're chasing that past account. You're chasing whatever it is, right? You're chasing it so badly. Yet you don't even give yourself the opportunity to actually grow because you're only focused on results. And the results don't tell you anything. I'm sorry to say, just because a trade was green or red doesn't mean it was a good or bad trade, right? You have to look at the inputs that made up that trade to gauge whether or not it was a good or bad trade. Do you guys understand? The trade is good when you followed your rules. The trade is good when you were disciplined, when you managed risk efficiently, when you did all the right things that you needed to do, and the trade is bad when you don't. That's all it is. Whether the trade is green or not is not up to you, right? It's not up to your strat. It's not up to anything. It's up to whatever is delivered to you, right? It's something that's out of your control. I always say this: outputs are things that we can't control. We cannot control if our trade is green or red. You can try all you want. I've seen it happen. You can try all you want. But if the market chooses not to deliver, you could be one tick away from your take profit. If the market chooses to reverse, there's not a thing you could do about it. And that's just the truth, right? So again, focusing on the inputs will lead to the right outputs. Sheesh. Bars. All right, got a question here. What do you do if you're in the break-even stage? If you're in the break-even stage, it's two things that are happening. Number one is that you have the basic knowledge. You have enough that you're making some money, right? Because if you're break even, that means you're making some money, losing the money, right? So the knowledge is there, the application is there. So there's one, maybe two things that are holding you back, and that's why you have to journal, and that's what's going to help you break out of the break even stage, is journaling and then looking back and recognizing your bad habits. So for me, my bad habits were I couldn't sit through consolidation. That was my bad habit, right? I couldn't sit still from a lot of chop. If it was a choppy day, I was going to force a trade, right? And that's what kept me down. That's what took away all my winning days. That's what took away, all my profits and let me stay break even, right? Forced me to stay break even. So what I did was I journaled every single day, consolidation, and I noticed the pattern right away. And I said, hey, every time there was a choppy day, I just couldn't sit still. And instead of trying to just say, oh, okay, well, I'll just stop doing that. Like, I'll just be better. Instead of saying I'm gonna lock in or whatever nonsense, I basically just said, hey, I noticed that for some reason I can't sit through consolidation. Honestly, I tried all my hardest. It just wasn't happening. And instead of just trying to force it and try something different and be like, okay, well, tomorrow I'll do better. Instead of saying that, I recognize, hey, I can't really break out of this, right? I've had this problem for however many months, however long it's been, and I just can't seem to break it. So instead of trying to just force myself and make a result that's not going to happen, why don't I say, hey, I can't break out of this. How do I move forward, right? If I notice that, hey, sitting through consolidation is killing me, why don't I just not sit at all? Why don't I just make alerts and move on, right? So what I would do is, instead of sitting through consolidation and being like, okay, well, today I'll just be more disciplined, I'd say, hey, I can't be disciplined. I can't stop no matter how hard I try. So I won't even try in the first place, and I'll go around the obstacle instead of through it. So I would set alerts, I would set notifications for certain price levels, right? So if I'm like, okay, after this level is swept, then maybe I'll look back at the chart. And then I'd physically walk away, because I noticed that, hey, I need to physically remove myself from this. Otherwise, I can't stop it. I can't stop me trying to overtrade. I can't stop me forcing trades. I can't stop these things, right? And it's recognizing and being self-aware of that fact that led me to actually being disciplined. Now I'm able to sit through consolidation because I was able to recognize, hey, because you can't sit through consolidation, that's more reason why you need to build that better habit. Do you guys understand? And then naturally, I was able to grow and naturally, break out of those bad habits. Do you guys understand? And the great thing about doing it that way, the way that I teach, is that naturally, even if you have that same issue, because I still have that temptation to like, oh, trade through consolidation, but you've built up such a good habit of recognizing that even when the days are there that you're still like for example, I'll be like, oh, trade the consolidation. I'm able to say, oh, you know what? Yeah, I want to trade this, but what happened the last time that I did that? And I'll remember the past, all those past trades. That's why it's important to journal. And I'll be like, you know what? Like, I tried to trade chop 50 times. It didn't work 50 times. I'm not going to start now, right? And it's a really good habit to build, because that allows you to basically minimize all your bad days while maximizing all your great days. Do you guys understand? That's what it was. That's what got me out of break even, what led me to passing my accounts, getting payouts, right? To passing this next account I'm about to pass, right? All because I recognize, hey, I can't stop taking bad trades, so I won't even take a trade at all, and I'll do the right things instead, right? So it was, practicing discipline, practicing patience, following my rules, and then naturally, as a byproduct, I got out of the break-even stage, right? That's how you get out. By trying to force leaving that stage, then that's kind of how you get stuck. You guys understand? This guy said, ask again if you understand. Do you understand, Talaria King? I don't think you do. Just kidding. Do you avoid days like that when high time frame doesn't strongly confirm your draw on liquidity? Yeah, it could be that. It could be strategy, right? There are times where there's times where it's just chop, bro. Honestly, whether the high time, because there's times where the high time frame will confirm it, right? I've had plenty of times where I was like, okay, everything makes sense. High time frame, low time frame, everything aligns, and it's still just choppy, right? Does that make sense? It doesn't necessarily have to do with just that. It just has to do with, hey, I recognize that I can't stop, bro. Honestly, I can try my hardest, but it's not gonna work out. And that's why I said I'd just step away. That's what I do. Can you mentor me one on one? No, bro, I don't do that. I don't do one on ones. I used to. I used to have like one on one calls with you guys, but there's just too many, so I can't do them anymore. I have a hard time detaching from watching my profits go away. I feel like I must end green. That's exactly what I was talking about. Pack profits, right? Where I was talking about, ending green. It's easy to not worry about green when you recognize one thing, Pack, which is having a green or red day is something that's not even up to you, right? Like, I know a lot of us will see a green day and we'll post about it. We'll be like, oh man, look at that. My setup worked out perfectly. Da 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 da. But at the end of the day, having a green day and a good trade is a result that we can't control anyways. And so it's like basically when you're saying I need to end green, it's like saying you need to do something that you can't control, right? It's like me saying, okay, today I want it to lightning strike at this exact spot, and if it doesn't, I'm gonna be upset. It's like, dude, you have no control over that. It might happen. You can try your hardest. You can put up a lightning, what is it called? Lightning rod. That's what it is. Lightning rod. You could do all that. That doesn't guarantee that you're gonna see the result that you want. But once you can step out of that mindset and say, you know what, whether I see the result or not, it's not up to me. It's not something that I can control. So why don't I focus only on controlling the right things that I know as a byproduct will lead me to the right results? Do you guys understand? It's like exactly what I was saying about the gym earlier, if you were here earlier. I was saying you can try your hardest and work out 10 hours a day, 12 hours a day, full-time job working out at the gym, right? No rest, no nothing. You're going to make less progress than the guy who only works out 1 to 2 days a week, but takes the proper rest, takes the proper nutrition, right? Does the proper workouts rather than the guy who spends, all day just trying his hardest to see muscle, muscle, muscle. You guys understand? That guy's going to make less progress than the guy who does the right things, right? The right things lead to the right results. That's what I always say. End up making a setup. I feel like when high time frame is unclear, I make it clear in my head and end up making a setups. And that's exactly, bro, I do the same thing. I used to do the same thing where even if there's not a setup, I'd force a setup to happen. But you have to think about why. Why do we need a good setup so badly, right? And I recognized, oh, the reason I need this good setup so badly and why I'm making up and hallucinating setups and like hallucinating trades is because I recognize, oh, I need to take a trade because I need to see a result today. I need to see something on my chart. Whether even there was times where I didn't even care if it was red. I just needed to see something, right? And I recognize, oh, it all ties back into the same thing, which is I need to see results. Whether the results were even good, I didn't even care. I just wanted to see results. But I recognize results are not just action. It's not just you putting in effort. It's actually you deciding when to put in effort. That's more important than just putting in effort, right? Knowing when to step away is more result than actually doing any trade, right? If you just force a trade, that doesn't tell me anything. Well, congratulations, you forced a trade. But I recognize, oh, I needed that though. That's why I forced the trade. That's why a lot of us force trades. It's because you deep down we're basically saying I need to see result, or I feel like I'm not doing something right, or I feel like, maybe I'm not putting in enough work. Maybe this guy's going to get ahead of me. Maybe I'm not going to see the payout. And it all comes back to the same dependent mindset. You are attaching results directly to your future. You're attaching your future to results. And I made a really good video about this, right? Is that a lot of us see trading as an out. We see trading as a way to get rich. We see trading as a way to get vacations, right? But subtly, and I think I ask you guys to think about this: if trading equals vacation, and vacation or trading equals freedom, equals vacation, equals success, equals big car, big house, right? If trading equals all those things, what happens, do you think, to your feelings when trading isn't working out? All of a sudden that vacation is gone, right? That Lambo is gone in your mind, that house is gone in your mind, that vacation, that freedom is gone in your mind. So by associating trading with all of those things, what do you guys think is naturally happening? Naturally, when trading goes good, you start thinking, oh yeah, those things are right around the corner. I'm gonna see those results any day now. And when trading goes bad, it's not just the trade that's gone bad, it's your freedom that's gone. The fantasy is gone. Exactly what Pac said. The fantasy is gone, the Lambo is gone. And now, if someone just stole your Lambo, you're not gonna go walk away from it. You're gonna start saying, oh, I need to get it back. And that's why you force trades, is because you are basically associating trading and making trading this whole extra thing, right? And when trading doesn't not work out that day, which inevitably you can have a red day, it's gonna happen, right? You can't beat math. Then it's not just trading that's going the wrong way. Now you're saying, oh, my Lambo is gonna be gone, my freedom is gone. And when someone takes away your freedom, do you guys think you're just gonna sit there and be like, yeah, whatever, cool, no problem? No, you're gonna do something about it. But the issue was, it should have never been that thing in the first place. It should have never been freedom in the first place. Trading is just trading. It's just an activity, an expression of our desires, right? And that's why you guys force setups. Because trading, you built up trading to be this whole thing in your head. When it's not there anymore, what do you guys think happens? You crash out. And when you crash out, what happens? You break your rules, you blow your accounts, and now you're actually setting yourself further back than if you just moved forward without thinking about the results in the first place. Do you guys understand? And that's why I teach so heavy about what I teach. That's why I talk about outcome-dependent mindsets. That's why I make psychology videos. That's why I make all these videos and live streams for you guys for free, is because I've seen it happen. Guys, it's happened to me. This is something that I personally have gone through. I know what you guys are feeling whenever you take a bad trade. And I know what it's like, guys, to build the car. You guys ever do that? You go on like a car website, your favorite brand, and you start building your dream car. I've done that. I remember customizing the wheels. I customized the paint color, the spoiler, right? Everything. Tinted the windows and everything. Right? And whenever I looked at that car, it wasn't just looking at a car. It was saying, oh, trading will get me this. And when trading didn't look good that day, because we see with our eyes, right? We're not some, alien that can see the future. We can only see the present. So in the present, when the trading didn't go well, whenever I had a bad day or a bad week or I blew an account or whatever it was, now it wasn't just a trade in my mind. It was, dang, I just lost my dream car. Dang, I just lost that vacation I wanted. Dang, I just lost, right, my future. Now it's not just trading that's going wrong, it's your future. And when your future's in jeopardy, do you guys are just going to sit there and take it? No, you're going to do something about it. And doing something is going to look like breaking your rules by forcing a setup, by trying to claw your way back to green or break even, right? Do you guys understand? That's exactly what it comes down to at the end of the day. And I noticed because I've seen it happen, and I know a lot of you guys can relate to that. Subconsciously. Yeah, it's all subconscious. It's not like you're not explicitly thinking it, but it's subtle, right? Because think about it. Why would you get mad at a red day in the first place, right? If I told you guys right now that I'm going to give you a winning strategy that only wins 10% of the time, but it's going to make you so profitable that you'll buy everything that you could ever want. You would not care one bit about any of the 90% of your losses. You wouldn't care at all, right? But when we're living now and your win rate's probably higher than 10%, but because you can't see the future, you can only see what you're thinking of in your mind, then naturally you start doubting. You guys understand? Then that's why you force your setups. That's why you do all these bad habits, right? All your bad habits, I'm going to say this is my hot take. All bad habits relate back to one single thing, which is outcome dependency, which I know sounds crazy. People will say, oh, it's greed. Oh, it's FOMO. Oh, it's revenge trading. All those lead back to the same thing. Why are you greedy? Oh, I want more profit so that way I can feel like I built a big enough buffer, so that way I can feel like I'm making enough progress, so that way I can feel like I'm actually going to get my future. Okay, all I'm hearing is I need X outcome to feel this Y emotion, and if I don't feel Y emotion, then I feel like I'm not making any progress, right? And now I have to do something about it. It's all the same thing. FOMO trading, revenge trading, greed, anxiety, frustration, hesitation, even hesitating to take your trade, right? Closing your trade early, moving your stop loss too much, taking too many partials. All these things go right back into the same thing, right? Because if I told you guys right now that it doesn't really matter what you do right now, that you're going to see your future, your future is going to come anyways. If I told you guys, hey, take as many losses as you want, it doesn't matter. You're going to be profitable in 5 years or in 1 year, in 2 years. None of you guys would care about the losses. Not a single one of you. I promise you, none of you guys would care about losses. But because your future is in jeopardy, why? Because you ascribe trading to your future. You associate trading with your future. You associate trading with freedom, which you should have, it's never a good thing. Then naturally, you start doubting and naturally you deviate from your path, right? As humans, we want to prevent as much harm as possible to ourselves, right? That's just how we are, right? So naturally, when you make trading cause you pain, then you have to fix it. And how do you fix it? You change what you're doing, right? If you do the same thing, we know it's going to hurt the next time. So we'll change it. And what is the only thing that we can change about trading? Your executions. You can only trade executions. You can't change results, right? You can try your hardest. You can't change results. You can't go back in time, right? So what do? You'll change your inputs because that's the only thing you can control. And when you change inputs, you're now building an unstable foundation. Why? Because if you're constantly changing your strategy or constantly changing your rules or constantly doing something different, you're never going to get stable results. So naturally, now you're basically trading from an unstable foundation. You don't really know what strategy you're working on, or you don't know how to manage your rules. You don't know how to manage risk. You don't know how to even move forward. Why? Because you're starting from a foundation that's unstable in the first place. It makes sense. It makes sense why a lot of you guys, and me included, struggle with following our rules. It makes sense why a lot of us struggle with following a strategy. It makes sense why a lot of us struggle with all these things. Why? Because that's how it is inherently. You can't change that. Until you can recognize it, it's hard to change, right? How are you going to change something that you're standing on, right? How are you going to, fix the floor that you're standing on right now? It makes no sense, right? Until you can step out of it and say, oh, that's what it is. It's